Hey, welcome back, guys, to an episode of Geek Centurions. I'm here with Joey again, and we're going to be talking about The Bad Batch, the newest Star Wars show coming out of Disney Plus, a continuation of the Clone Wars. This is taking place between the Clone Wars and what eventually would be whichever thing happens beside Clone Wars and New Hope. So probably between that and Rebels. It's been a while since I see Rebels. And Joey, you don't really watch most of the shows, do you?
Uh,
Cartoon wise.
the cartoon wise, no, not really, because I think I remember watching bits of Clone Wars back when it came out. I didn't watch the final season, but I kind of know what happens, and I think I've seen clips of it. So yeah, this is essentially sort of, I guess, a return for me to watch
Cool. Something along those lines.
something. Yeah, like getting like actually watching a Star Wars cartoon show like in like a really long time.
Yeah, because I think the one you mostly watched was getting Tartakovsky's Clone Wars, the one that came out in
No,
2003.
yeah. That definitely was. I think that was the one I remember the most off the top of my head. But that was just because
I'm gonna tell you this right now, Joey. I don't blame you for not remembering most of Clone Wars. I like Clone Wars,
right.
but there's often a lot of drag in that show.
No, I've heard that like sometimes there's a lot of because it's like an anthology series, right? There aren't
Yeah.
like a whole lot of like you'll get into some tangents sometimes.
Yeah, no. But I will say one thing I did like about the Clone Wars show, and thankfully it does continue on to this show, because again we're talking about the Bad Batch, so it's a show that if you haven't watched the Clone Wars, I'm pretty sure you're fine. In my opinion, you're fine without it because it's pretty straightforward. Um, in the Clone Wars show, one thing they really try to emphasize is that each of the clones have their own little personality and their own little character. They're more than just cardboard cutouts.
Yeah,
They're not just window dressing. Oh no, see that's Rex. He's the da 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 da. That's Cody. Da, da, da. You just know him as the guy who shot down Obi-Wan Kenobi, so on and so forth. And probably, do you want me to explain who the Bad Batch are, or do you feel like you got the gist of it?
no, I got the gist of it. They in the first episode itself, they definitely explain sort of the idea of the Bad Batch themselves. Is that they're just the clone regiment that is very they're seen as defective because they have certain traits that were like
Yeah.
really like unusual for other clones. Like a lot of the clones are sort of uniform in terms of appearance and stuff, or and have like, but still have their own personalities. With it. These guys are definitely like
They're all same. All the clones are like same build, same face. Some of them might or might not have hair, might or might not have tattoos or something that differentiates
yeah.
the other. But the Bad Batch clearly are meant to look a little different. I mean, one of the guys whose name is Wrecker is like clearly, obviously not the same as everyone else.
Yeah, he's like at least
He is a brick house.
yeah, he's bigger than any clone ever, basically, and he's he lives up to his name. He wrecks stuff. He's sort of the he's the muscle of the group.
And so we're gonna go into discussing the episode, but not tangent, but little interesting fact. So in one of the episodes of Clone Wars, they established a clone named Number 99, who was a very defective clone. Like he was basically the Quasimodo of all the clones.
No, I think I vaguely remember this. He was super old, right?
He wasn't super old, but he was like,
He looked weird.
yeah, he looked weird. He had a hunchback, and he was just the janitor.
Yeah.
And he was able to do a heroic sacrifice for his brothers, because that's kind of how they all view themselves, as brothers, because they're all clones of the same person. Of was it Jango Fett? Yeah, Jango
Yeah,
Fett.
yeah, Django.
And like they view themselves as brothers. And in the episodes that where Clone 99 appeared, you kind of get the gist that they don't have names, they all have numbers, but they value names so much. So that's a really, I thought that'd be an interesting thing to note. And basically naming a whole clone unit after the that one defective clone kind of means a lot.
Yeah, I mean, obviously those carries with the group itself because they see themselves They often seen as defected themselves.
Well, I think they were programmed that way, as I recall.
All right.
Yeah, because they're like, yeah, let's do something different. Let's not make him so like everyone else. But no, we'll start off with the episode. Joey, take us away now. The first episode, right? If you guys haven't seen it yet, and if you have, you pretty much already know. For those of you that do, I've seen it. It's like an hour long.
Yeah, it's an hour long. It definitely sets up the premise of the show. But yeah, it's we basically we're at the sort of the end of the Clone Wars.
Yeah.
We just finished a sort of big battle, against the Separatist army. We had a Jedi commander, I forget her name.
Yeah.
And her Padawan,
Caleb,
yeah, that's what it is.
Interesting note. Did you think that voice was weird for that kid?
A little bit. It sounded like
he sounded a little too old.
It's a little too old.
There's a reason for that, Joey.
Okay.
He would go on to be one of the main characters of Star Wars Rebels. Kanan.
Oh.
Yeah, it's Freddie Prinze Jr.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
See, here's the thing. I it did sound familiar to me.
Yeah.
Like, it did sound familiar. His voice sounded familiar to me. I don't want to lie.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why.
Like, who is this guy?
Yeah, I'm like, I feel like I've seen this kid before.
Yeah.
In some form or fashion. So that's an interesting note. But yeah, anyways, it's end of the Clone Wars.
Yeah.
The Bad Batch just helped out. Turn the tide a little bit, and as they're launching the counterattack, the clones get the infamous Order 66 order.
And they just like in the last season of Clone Wars, they inserted the actual lines from the movie, like the actual voice.
Yeah, which I mean, it's fun.
Yeah.
But so Order 66 goes down. The Jedi Master gets killed protecting.
Well, trying to defend herself more.
Well, yeah, defending herself, but telling Caleb to run. And obviously, and the interesting thing, of course, is the Bad Batch don't get the order, and they're just sort of like, "What the fuck's going on?"
Yeah, well, except for one of them.
And one of them is very much like,
yeah.
It's sort of like, so they just some of them sort of go ahead and try to find Calvin and try to protect him.
Caleb.
It's Hunter and Crosshairs go.
Yeah.
While the others sort of try to figure out, okay, so what's the hell's going on? Right?
Mm-hmm.
They Hunter finds Caleb, right? And he's sort of like, listen, all right, I'm just here to help. You don't, but clearly he's not you guys killed my master. Screw you guys. He sort of just jumps across the waterfall and he sort of just runs away.
Which, by the way, Crosshairs is the one who's really trying to kill his kid. Hunter's like, bro, we're trying to help you.
Yeah, Crosshairs is they're orders. Good soldiers follow orders, all right? And it's like, no. We've been fighting with the Jedi for how many fucking years, and all of a sudden they go rogue? All right, we need to figure some answers out, all right?
There's gotta be a reason for shit.
Yeah, there's gotta be a reason why we're given this order. We need more explanation other than,
Orders.
Yeah.
And I'll say that this, I love what they do. I love the fact that we get to see the aftermath of Order 66 from the clones' perspective. Because we already know the Jedi's perspective. They're just running and hiding.
Yeah.
Some of them are fighting, running and hiding. With this, though, and I don't know how you feel about the fact... Okay, because they explained in the show, both in Clone Wars and in this, is that all clones have an inhibitor chip. That's whenever Order 66 is initiated, they have to kill the Jedis.
Yeah.
I don't know how do you feel about that.
It's an interesting thing because I think it was I'm assuming because of the way Clone Wars was with trying to give all the clones personalities and really sort of building the bonds between them and their Jedi Masters, that to just jump into Episode 3 and they get the order and they just immediately just go into insta kill mode, no questions asked. It's very much like, damn, that's fucking cold blooded or whatever, right?
Yeah.
So I think the inhibitor chip is I think they wanted it to be very much like a solid explanation as these aren't their usual selves. They just had a programming to once the order is initiated, they just become different. They're completely different people now.
No, yeah, it's I've always been kind of 50-50 with it, but over time I became like more accepting of it because like I'm imagining because like throughout the show in Clone Wars they establish like yeah they have character, they have personalities, but they also have a genuine bond with their commanders. Rex is being the best example with him and Anakin.
Yeah.
They were like two peas in a pod. They were best friends, and now knowing that Order 66 went down, you were like, oh man, it's just so tragic. Like there's still a bit of tragedy, but now it's an extra. You can kind of argue it's an extra layer of tragedy because it was against his will.
Yeah, you can. You can argue that like probably all these clones are, there's still a part of them that's like, oh, I can't believe I did that, but the inhibitor chip is like essentially has forced them to do this stuff. So I mean, it's. Yeah, I can kind of see your point about it being 50-50. For me, I think it's at least a decent retcon to at least help alleviate some of that stuff. So yeah, but anyways, yeah, we do see a lot of the Bad Batch's perspective on this stuff because as they return to Kamino, they're very much like, man, the clones are acting weird.
Like, wait a minute. What's Steve doing here? Isn't Steve supposed to be like over there in Coruscant?
Yeah, it's like, why is the Coruscant guard here? It's like war's over. And it's like, I mean, yeah, but like, what does that mean though?
I like the idea that like they're starting to question like what's their life without the war.
Yeah, it's like, well, what do you do now? And of course, afterwards they sort of have this whole assembly hall where they get they're getting the message from Emperor Palpatine's like the Republic is gone, we are now the Galactic Empire. And the Bad Batch is like, Galactic Empire?
The fuck?
What the hell?
And like he does the whole speech. The only thing we're missing is Padme going like, "So this is how liberty dies with thunderous applause."
Yeah, obviously. And I mean, of course, all the clones of the Bad Batch are clapping and stuff. And it's like, all right. And
it's the moment you realize, oh, I'm on the bad guy's side.
Yeah, there is a moment where it's like, are we the baddies? But
someone behind them like, we always were.
Yeah, but Hunter, the main leader, who by the way looks like Rambo to me.
We're gonna have time to talk because I want to hear your opinions on each of the characters.
Okay, all right.
I said this in the when me and Kelvin were talking about the final season. Like these characters feel like an action movie set.
Okay, all right, I can see that.
Yeah,
but Hunter notices that there's a little girl with what is it, Kaminoans?
Yeah,
that's what it is. Star Wars names are weird.
It's a lot of detail to remember, man. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm surprised how Kelvin was able to do it.
Dude, it's a huge universe.
Yeah.
I'm so like legit. There's probably people who know the species name for Guado, like his species, right? And I'm like, why would you know that? How could you possibly even? Why would you even remember that?
I read the books.
It's like
fair enough,
I guess. But yeah, no, he spots her for a second and is like, okay, that's weird. Why is there a kid here?
Why is there a little girl here?
Yeah, right. It's like very bizarre.
And listen, I'll say this right now: if you're able to put two and two together, you can pretty much figure out why there's a little girl here.
Yeah, no, like it's pretty obvious why there's a little girl here. Yeah, but of course
with a hard Australian accent there.
Well, they all have Australian accents, but yeah.
So slightly.
Well, is it Australian or New Zealand? I can't.
I think it's one of the two.
Yeah, but
listen, I'm an American. I can't differentiate.
Yeah, but so anyways, they sort of come back. Crosshairs is still like riding on Hunter for like essentially letting the the
young Padawan go.
Yeah, letting the young Padawan go. Even though like Hunter says himself like, no, I didn't. It's like, no, but you did though. You did though. I'm like, you did though. It's like,
I know how you are, dude.
Yeah, it's like, I know you. You wouldn't have killed him. Trust me. All right, but they do actually meet up with the young girl. Her name's Omega, and she's very curious. All right, she's like an assistant for the doctor. For the doctor, yeah, and it's very much like, I like you guys, right? And they have a little bit of fight.
Camaraderie, yeah.
Yeah, camaraderie.
Yeah, you forgot to mention Grand Moff Tarkin shows up.
Yes, like, and it's a bad time too because they have like a huge like food fight in the cafeteria.
And Grand Moff Tarkin does not like clones.
He does not like clones. He's here specifically to just be like, listen, I don't think we need the clones anymore. And it's like, but if you're gonna be a galactic empire now, you're gonna need a bunch of people, controlling the galaxy. Our clones can do that. Yeah, but regular people are cheaper. And it's like, yeah, but our clones are better, and
Listen, for any of you who've never seen anything with Clone Wars or anything like that, I'd rather have a clone army than a stormtrooper army, because at least the clones can aim and right and able to shoot the targets.
Yeah, I mean that's sort of the joke in the Star Wars fandom, is that, because to be fair, that does happen eventually. Mm-hmm. If you at least know of Star Wars lore, is that the stormtroopers are just regular people by the time of the original trilogy. So, and you can definitely understand that. Oh yeah, no, clones definitely would have worked here.
Oh no, yeah,
yeah,
they're expendable.
I mean, you mass produce them, and but for Grand Moff Tarkin, it's like expenditure cost. It's too much money. It's a lot cheaper just to get regular people. All right.
It's weird because I would think that he would try to naturally, move away from the clones instead of just halting it all together.
Yeah, but I guess Grand Moff Tarkin is very much like, no, we got to get this going, all right? We need our Galactic Empire to work efficiently, and this clone army is really dragging on our bottom line.
Let me check on these guys who are not like the other clones and put them on a test field, because that's exactly what happens. Grand Moff Tarkin just calls on the Bad Batch to do some training exercises, and he's like, okay, they're pretty good, and then he calls in the big guys.
Yeah, and then he's like, use live rounds. It's like, what? But sorry, I don't want to injure our clones. I don't care. Just use it.
They're expendable.
Yeah. You said it yourself, right? So, yeah, they get live shots fired at them, and it's like, and they manage to, turn the tide. Right?
Yeah, you start to realize why they're the why they are the badass of the badasses.
Yeah, because they get put in these situations, and they just, MacGyver their way out of this stuff.
Oh, they MacGyver the hell out of it.
Yeah, they're always finding inventive ways to handle their situation and turn the tide.
The fact that Crosshair was it Wrecker or was it Hunter that threw the knife?
It was Wrecker.
Yeah, Wrecker threw a knife only for Crosshairs to shoot it so he can aim it at the head of one of the robots.
Yeah, he was like, Wrecker knife, all right, throws the knife, and then he just lines the shot and then goes, that's,
and you're like,
damn, that's pretty fucking cool.
Eat your heart out. Eat your heart out, John Wick, bro.
Yeah, it's fucking crazy. But yeah, Grand Moff Tarkin is very much like, all right, you guys are interesting.
Yep, and he questions whether or not they killed the young Jedi, because the thing is, and they talk about this, that they don't have, because of the defects that they put on to the Bad Batch, they don't have the inhibitor chips. It's like you said. I think you said that earlier.
Yeah, they don't it's either they don't have it or
it's not functioning.
Yeah, it's not functioning right. And Grand Moff Tarkin is like, well, if the inhibitor chip isn't working correctly, how do we truly know that they'll be loyal to the Empire?
Because they're loyal, sir.
Yeah, well, apparently, from what I hear,
they're not.
They let a Padawan escape.
Ah, shit.
Yeah, so Grand Moff Tarkin essentially just puts the Bad Batch on a mission to get rid of some insurgents. He phrases it as a separatist group are trying to they're just trying to continue the war or whatever, and it's like, all right, we got this.
And you find out it's just a bunch of refugees.
Yep.
With Saul Guerrero.
Yep.
Not looking like Forrest Whitaker.
Well, to be fair, by the time he is Forrest Whitaker in the movies, he's fucking old as hell and very jaded. Mm-hmm. Here, he still has a bit of hope in his eyes. Where it's like, yeah, we can do this. So obviously...
How funny it would have been if he was like... What was that line he did in Rogue One?
Save the rebellion. Save the dream.
Yeah.
Yeah, but obviously Hunter and the rest are like, oh... This is not what we signed up at all for. I thought we were here to kill some droids, And it's like, nah.
And Crosshairs is the other one that's like, we gotta do the orders.
Yeah, we got orders. We gotta, take out these guys. It's like, dude, there's women and children here. And it's like, it's orders are orders. And it's like, all right, Crosshairs, seriously, you are acting very strange right now.
You are being a dick.
Yeah. So, and of course, it turns out that Grand Moff Tarkin has used one of the survey droids to follow them, and he sort of kind of knows. All right, I see what where we're going at with this thing.
Mm-hmm.
And pretty much the Bad Batch are like, well, this is kind of bad.
Yeah.
Right? We're in a sticky situation. Right? So they decide to go back to Kamino and try to rescue Omega.
Because they find out that she's a clone. And then again, as I said, if you're able to put 2 and 2 together, you can figure it out.
I mean, Tech, right? His name?
Yeah.
He pretty much is like, yeah, she's a clone. Like, I'm surprised you guys didn't know that. It's pretty obvious.
Yeah, no, that was pretty funny.
Yeah, it's like, well, you know. But yeah.
They usually never clone females. They always clone males.
Yeah, which I will admit is something that I had thought about. Like, I guess in my brain, it's like, yeah, it is actually kind of weird how they actually decided to make a female clone this one time. That's interesting. The reasoning for it probably will be revealed later on because, yeah, it definitely seems like the Doctor very much like, you gotta stick with me, all right? You don't go running around stuff, all right?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, basically they go back. In the meantime, the clones on Kamino are taking all their stuff out of their room.
Mm-hmm.
They find Omega there because she's like, "This is so cool," and then she gets, they take her away.
Mm-hmm.
And by the time the Bad Batch show up,
And they all get captured.
yep, Grandma Tarkin's already there, just sort of like,
Yeah, I knew not to trust you bastards.
yeah, I kind of figured you guys weren't that loyal, so off to the brig with you guys.
Yeah.
So they get sort of locked in, a jail cell with Omega, and they're very much just like, Omega's like, well, why'd you come back? It's like, well, we're here to rescue you, and I mean,
Plus, you're the only one that's not crazy.
yeah.
We would have saved the rest, but like they're already too far gone.
Well, yeah, pretty much. But so the clones take away Crosshairs, and because Grandma Tarkin sort of knows like he's the only one that seems kind of loyal. Let's check on his inhibitor chip, and it turns out his inhibitor chip is kind of working.
Yeah, and that's when I'm like, okay, that makes sense now.
Yeah, so he's sort of kind of he's very much feeling like loyalty to the group, but also the inhibitor chip's sort of causing him to be this way.
Mm-hmm.
So Grandma Tarkin's like, is there a way to amplify the effect? And the Kaminoans are like, yeah, we could probably do that. All right, do it. So,
which, by the way, I forgot to mention, Omega at least tries to like convince Crosshairs to like, no, you're with us, dude.
Yeah, Omega does try at least to like have a heart to heart with Crosshairs, but Crosshairs is very much like, man, you don't know anything about me, kid.
He's a generic, as the anime weebs would say, tsundere.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like a wannabe edgelord is also.
I mean, he drew it's either tattoo or he drew it himself. He has a crosshair on one of his eyes.
Yeah.
Like the scope line or whatever.
Yeah. But anyways, the Bad Batch figure out. Well, at least Tech figures out there probably is a way to get out of here. So they managed to open a hole big enough for Omega to get it out, so that way she can turn off the shield door.
Mm-hmm.
And while the rest of the group sort of just try to cover her, essentially her, which she's able to do.
Mm-hmm.
They're able to escape.
The Crosshairs comes in. He's like, "Gotta take you down, buddy."
Yeah, they get to the hangar, and then obviously
it's a big fight.
Yeah, Crosshairs is very much. I'm pretty sure he's wearing like what seems to look like something similar to a stormtrooper helmet. No.
Maybe.
It kind of looked like
it was a little too dark for me to notice.
Yeah, I think that was it as well. It was very dark by the end. But yeah, basically, they managed to sort of not like they sort of Omega sort of kind of saves Wrecker because he gets shot by Crosshair because she somehow is able to wield a blaster, right?
It's in the DNA, man.
Yeah, she's sort of like, afterwards, once they're on their ship and they escape, Hunter's like, how'd you do that? And it's like, I don't know, it sort of happened, Which, I mean, yeah, I'm pretty sure since she is a clone, she probably still has those reflexes of Jango Fett for those
Now,
situations.
there is a theory that I came up with.
Okay, then.
Do you want to hear it?
Yeah, I guess. Yeah.
So, and this might upset some people, but my theory is that she's the first attempt at cloning a Jedi or someone with a high midichlorian count, being the test subject for what eventually would lead to, Palpatine's great plan that, of the cloning and ensuring that he will survive all the way up to, was it the
Rise of Skywalker.
Rise of Skywalker?
Right. That's interesting because I mean we already kind of get at least hints of that plan in Mandalorian, the second season especially. So that's the main reason why they wanted a Grogu. So I mean that could be an interesting thing because of course the Doctor talks to the Prime Minister of the
Twin Alliance.
Yeah, and she's sort of like they took Omega, and it's like, oh, that's kind of bad, isn't it? Yeah, let's not tell Grandma talking about this. It's like, okay. Which, I mean, that alone definitely sort of hints at, like, she's definitely special. And something that they don't want Grandma Tarkin knowing about. Right? So, I don't know. It's interesting. It's an interesting theory, but we're only 2 episodes in, so I'm not 100% sure that's the thing.
Yeah, so let's go into the second episode real quick so we can give our whole discussion at the end. Second episode, essentially, they find a character whose name is Cut, who is a farmer. He's got a family, all that cool stuff. By the way, he's a deserter. He was a clone himself. And he was established in one of the previous Clone Wars episodes. And they come to him by saying, like, hey, how the fuck did you hide from the Republic / Empire all those lives? We're going to need some tips, dude. We're trying to hide ourselves. And essentially, the whole point of this episode is, and it's a very short. It's not an hour long. It's an average episode length, and it gets straight to the point that they're trying to find a way to hide. And this essentially establishes the relationship between Hunter and Omega, because there's a big father-daughter thing going on.
Well, yeah, because like Hunter sort of doesn't really know much how to handle a kid very well, right? And Cut's sort of just trying to give him Cut and the I forget her name.
Oh damn! I'm blanking on it right now.
It's like started with an S, not Sena.
No.
But basically, they're sort of giving her giving him advice. That's like, listen, all right, she's a kid. She's gonna get into a lot of trouble. It's hard to raise a kid. Look at us, right? Yeah. So
we got 2.
Yeah, we got 2, and Omega gets into a little shenanigan. She's playing ball with the 2 kids.
Which, usually with kid characters in cartoons, they often tend to be really annoying. She's not as annoying. Thank God.
Yeah, which, I mean, I think it helps that the Clone Wars writers know...
It's Sue.
It's Sue, okay.
Okay.
All right. The Clone Wars writers, I think, have learned with Ahsoka. Because before, obviously, Ahsoka was very kind of... was kind of annoying at the start of Clone Wars, right? But over the time, she
grew into a character.
Grew into a very likable character who's still really popular to this day. So I think they sort of learned from their mistakes of writing Ahsoka, and they're applying it to Omega. And Omega is obviously she's likable, right? She's just very curious about the world because she's only been on Kamino. So it's kind of like, wow, this is so amazing. But yeah, no, when they're playing ball, she accidentally kicks it out. She tries to go get it out of the fence, and it turns out there's a giant space monster wanting to eat her. Thankfully, they save her, though.
Yeah, thankfully they save her. And what I really do like about... Because she doesn't know better. She's been inside of a... It's like if you took the kid that was homeschooled for a good chunk of... for her whole life, her or his whole life, and they suddenly go to college. What's gonna happen?
Yeah, it's very much a big open world, right?
Yeah.
And so it's very much like, oh, what's this?
She's like, what is this? And everyone's like, it's dirt.
Wow, this is so cool. And it's like, well, all right.
I mean,
yeah, but
just don't bring it in the ship. Goddamn.
Yes, but mainly, sort of the advice Cut gives is that, yeah, listen, all right, if you want to lay low, start a new life. You got to abandon the soldier stuff now. It's a changing world. And mainly it's sort of like, I mean, we're gonna try to get off planet us because, we've been seeing a lot of clones recently, and we want to, we gotta move out, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so Cut tries to get a, passage on on a little ship that's going to leave by the end of the day. However, his money is no good because he needs a chain code.
Yeah, because they're changing the the economy.
Yeah, so you have to be registered under the Imperial system in order to get Imperial credits, and that's sort of a big bad no because like you said, Cut's a deserter. So as soon as they figure out that he's a deserter, he's gonna obviously be
In big trouble. Yeah.
Yeah.
And essentially they come up with a plan to get them in. It goes a little awry because it also involves them being in enemy lines.
Yeah, Tech sort of figures a plan out like, listen, we gotta forge these chain codes, but the only way we get to those chain codes is if we, get inside. So they sort of call in this ship retrieval thing and get themselves impounded. And it's like, what are you doing? Omega's on the ship. It's like, oh.
We forgot there was a kid.
Yeah. But, yeah, so as they're, like, I guess behind enemy lines trying to, one, get their ship unimpounded, and two, forge some chain codes for, Cut and his family. The rest of the group are just trying to,
not get caught.
Yeah, just slowly making their way to the shuttle.
And Cut's like, no, man, this is not gonna work. It's not gonna work. Because he's nervous because like he's got his whole family to think of.
Yeah, he's pretty much just like, I don't know, this is gonna work. We gotta figure something else. It's
yeah.
Like, listen, it's gonna be fine. All right, it's gonna be fine. All right, we got this. And
thankfully a lot of distraction happens thanks to the Bad Batch.
Yeah, a lot of moving around, distracting the clones, and which helps. Which, I mean, Omega decides to grab the chain codes and hand them over to Hunter and stuff, and
she finds out that there was one made for her.
Yeah, because Hunter was talking to Cut and Sue, and just realizing that maybe she needs you guys, maybe she needs a real family, because I don't think she's gonna get that from us. It's gonna be too dangerous. Blah 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 blah, and she's sort of like, Hunter's like, listen, you gotta go with them, all right? It's gonna be a lot safer for you, and you need like a good environment to grow up, right? And we're not gonna be able to provide you that. So Omega, Hunter like leaves her there so that way he can help out the rest of the Bad Batch, escape. And Omega decides, no, fuck that, I'm going with you guys, right? So as soon as things are getting a little dire, fucking Omega's just like, I'm coming in, and it's they all manage to escape. And Hunter's like, are you sure about this, kid? It's like, I chose to go with you guys and Camino, alright? That doesn't mean you can't just, leave me behind like that. It's like, alright, kid, I guess you're here for the long run.
And thankfully Cut is able to go home.
Yeah.
Leave. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, he's able to leave the planet and go somewhere else. And he almost has a little bit of a run-in because one of the clones sort of like looks at him and is like,
hey, wait a minute.
Yeah, wait a second. You look a lot. And then, of course, because the Bad Batch are causing commotions, like, listen, we need more help. Hands here. And he's sort of like, move along. So, Cut and his family managed to escape.
This is not the deserter you're looking for.
I mean, he doesn't have... That wouldn't have worked, though. He's not a Jedi. I mean, he's a
Who
clone.
knows? I'm just kidding.
No.
But, that's where the episode ends. They're all able to escape. They're all able to get out safely. Joey, so what are your thoughts on... Our rundown for this episode was pretty small because, like, if you start noticing, it's a very straightforward episodes.
Yeah. Because I mean, the essential premise is pretty interesting, right? We just have a group of clones on the run, sort of like trying to figure out just what their place is. Yeah. So yeah, it's gonna be a lot of interesting stuff going on. Overall, these past two episodes,
it's pretty solid.
Yeah, really solid. I really enjoyed it. Right?
Yeah. Now, would you be excited to see another episode?
Probably.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Because it's definitely intriguing. You know, it's an interesting just seeing this time period of like this transition into the Empire, just seeing all this stuff, sort of like the seeds of
change,
and like precursors to what is eventually going to come in the original trilogy and stuff. So it's kind of cool.
Yeah. If I do have a problem, it's just like we don't get a set amount of like how much time has changed.
Like between
the big events. Like we know from the movie how it goes down because it's the movie works with the time, but it's like, okay, this happened, now this happened, now this happened. It's just like when you're comparing it to the big timeline of Star Wars, it feels kind of jarring,
I can understand that.
Yeah, because like at the beginning they're talking about how Obi-Wan is facing off Grievous, and like it sounds like they're just started fighting, and then the Order 66 got
comes
in, and you're like, wait, but isn't he supposed to beat Grievous first and then Order 66 happens? Or am I just like losing track of a lot of stuff? Or is time relative to where they're at?
I don't know. And maybe. I mean, to be fair, it's a far off galaxy. It's a big galaxy, right?
Yeah.
A lot of things can happen in a short period of time, right?
Yeah. I guess it's one of those things that like in my brain it's like it's not. I'm not saying it's a big negative. It's more of a nitpick for me.
Mm-hmm.
But it's pretty like that's been in my head for like a while since I watched these episodes. Joey, since this is your first time being experienced with the Bad Batch, what are your thoughts on each of the characters?
All right. I think I said it earlier. Hunter, he looks like I don't know why they made him look like Rambo. It's definitely weird.
Because he's a hunter.
I mean, I get that. It's just it's kind of funny. I don't know. We got Wrecker. I mean, he's the low big muscle dude.
Yeah.
He's a bit dumb, but you know where his heart is, right?
Yeah, he's got a good heart. He plays with the kids.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Friggin' Tech, obviously the logical one.
He is the Untitled of the group.
Yeah, always sort of figuring stuff out, and it's just sort of like, I'm, clearly way smarter than everybody here. Echo, who, I think I vaguely remember Echo from the original Clone Wars trilogy.
Yeah, he was a regular clone that we thought was dead, but turned out he was alive, and became sort of half robot.
Yeah, so he has a bunch of mechanical parts.
Yeah.
He's sort of like, he's very interesting.
Yeah, because at the end of the first arc of the Clone Wars, that's where also the Bad Batch was introduced, which I'm now calling the pilot episodes.
Mm-hmm.
It's where he essentially joins the Bad Batch because, like, I feel like I can help them out more than I could help you, Rex. Because you see him, he's half robot, man. He's got like a Phillips screwdriver hand.
Yeah.
And it's like, you can totally see him fitting with those guys because like he's just kind of like the odd one out now of the clones.
Yeah.
So he joins the Bad Batch. So yeah.
Right. And then of course we have Crosshairs, who, obviously he's a very interesting clone. Right?
He's the Lancer of the group.
More or less, yeah. He's very much
of the 5-man band. He's the Lancer.
Yeah. Yeah, he's very he's questioning Hunter's orders a lot. He's very.
Mm-hmm.
Very antagonistic, and I do kind of want to see like if he does have that bit of like, I don't know, camaraderie still left in his heart to be with his clones rather than just following the orders. I don't know. I mean, it'd be interesting to see, but I think he might set up to be an interesting antagonist. So yeah.
Yeah, and if you guys are wondering what I mean by the Lancer type, just look up. I'm pretty sure there's a video about the 5-man band. It's a trope that's you see in a lot of books, media, and everything else. So you'll see a lot of it, and then when you watch some shows with a group of people, you're like, oh.
Yeah, watch it ruin every single show you ever watch in your life now.
I've seen some people compare them to the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
A little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can see a bit of Raph in Crosshairs and also in Wrecker.
Yeah.
But you can see some Michelangelo in there.
Yeah.
Some Leo. I mean, like they're based on some like the was it the 5 senses or
I don't know. I think you're thinking about I think you're thinking about the four humors or
Yeah,
something.
yeah.
It's a bit complicated.
Yeah.
We're not gonna get into
No,
that.
no, but but if you want like a good way for me to compare them, it's probably have you ever played League or like Overwatch?
Yeah.
Okay, you got your support. Well, in this case, two supports, one attacker, one mid, and you got the tank.
Well, I don't really know. I don't think you know what mid means.
Okay, so what?
No, but I think I get what you mean.
Yeah,
Because I think you're thinking about mid as in a sniper. That's not
yeah.
how mid works in a.
hmm
Yeah,
Now I'm trying to remember the term that they gave that was because Overwatch. I mostly played Overwatch and they had the
I mean,
classes.
yeah, but like I will say this with Overwatch
Okay.
though, just off tangent.
Mhm.
They got rid of defense heroes, Ellie.
Yeah.
As you know, they combined it all together into just offense,
Mhm.
and then they just have just attack, just offense, tank, and I think support, and that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, no, I get what you mean. You got you got your sharpshooter, you got a tank, you got a friggin' you got like two supports, and you got your basic leader, dude.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's one of the things that I was trying to remember. I was trying to explain to Kelvin, but I think I did it poorly. But I think he got it. I'm pretty sure he got it. But it's like if you were wondering like how this team works, think of like games like Dota, League, Overwatch.
Just any team game where there's support.
Yeah.
Where there's like class roles.
Because like that's basically what you need to think of.
Yeah.
And I mean that's what I thought when I first saw them. Like, okay, here's a tank, here's the sharpshooter. He's gonna be our guy. Tech, he's clearly the support because he's got the info and he tells you what to do. And Hunter is your attack guy because he's the leader and he's the one charging in.
Yeah.
That's what I thought the whole time.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's not incorrect to say.
No, it's not incorrect. But no, it's I like the Bad Batch. They're pretty like straightforward, and they're not. There's no like really that deep, character into them. But I hope that this show kind of goes into that.
Yeah, like I mean, because obviously in the Clone Wars series, like you could get into deep with some of the clones, but you couldn't get into deep with all the clones. Here we're going to focus on this specific clones. So yeah, I think we might be seeing just a ton of development with them, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Omega is pretty cool. It's pretty okay in my book. It's just a star-eyed kid who's never been outside the world.
Yeah, that's gonna be her role, just very much being like, wow, everything's so cool.
Yeah.
Right?
Now I don't know if she is gonna be a clone with Force powers. I doubt it. Actually, no, I don't doubt it. I'm pretty sure that's what it is. Because knowing how Star Wars is.
Yeah, maybe. I'm still up in the air as to, that your theory or whatever. I just very much like to see, what she has in store for the group.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
All right. Is there anything else you want to talk about in these two episodes?
No, I think we've covered most of most topics, right? Yeah.
Yeah. It is interesting to see the changes that they're doing with the Empire, and I really do like some of the comedy and some of the relationships. Which, by the way, I forgot to mention this. If you played close attention, especially in the first episode, Omega copies Hunter a lot.
Interesting.
Yeah, like she would see what he would do, and she does the same thing. I noticed this when like Hunter was like, you know the call sign for like hold, just put your hand up like that,
Yeah.
Like a fist. And when he sees him do it, she does the same thing. So she's doing a little copy thing, and it's like, oh, that's cute.
Yeah, she's very much like, why does he do that? I want to do that.
Yeah,
Yeah. So.
she really idolizes Hunter.
Yeah.
And man, also I forgot to mention this. My favorite moment was still the food fight.
Yeah, because it's a nice bit of lightheart fun.
Yeah.
Before we start getting into like, oh, all right.
This is what's happening.
Yeah.
Also, it kind of gives you the insight of like how they treat the Bad Batch.
Yeah, the other clones are very much like, what a bunch of fucking defects.
Yeah.
Who cares about those guys?
And everyone, and we're all like, what are you talking about? They got the job done in like a badass way possible.
Yeah.
They work better as a team.
Yeah.
And everyone just like, Now the fight breaks out. Everyone's just trying to chill. Crosshair's just still trying to eat.
You're just like, why do I have to?
Like, why do I bother?
Why does this always happen to me?
He's just like, I just want to eat my food in peace. Someone throws food at him, and I'm like, all right, I'm in now.
Yep.
No, it's so far it's a solid episode. Clone Wars, I always felt it takes a while for it to really get good, the show wise.
Yeah.
So I feel like these episodes are gonna be a little not bad. They're gonna be pretty solid, but by the end we're gonna be like, man, what a great show that was. Because that's how it felt for me in the last season of Clone Wars. Like the first arc with the Bad Batch was pretty good. It wasn't great, but it was pretty good. But now seeing the Bad Batch show, I'm like, okay, that was just the pilot, so I can't really blame him for that being pretty okay. The stuff with Ahsoka was pretty bad, but the final arc with like the Siege of Mandalore, holy shit, that was so good. And yeah, I really expected it to be just like that in a bit. I don't know. How do you feel about the animation?
It's good. I mean,
there are times where it looks really good.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like it's definitely improved over the years in terms of quality. Yeah, I mean, I guess
art style still gets a while to get used to.
Yeah, the art style is still like one of those things that you kind of have to get used to, just because it's a little weird and it looks a little blocky or whatever.
Yeah, blocky, wooden. I heard some people say it looks very like a toy commercial, like their toys.
Yeah, which I mean, it's not a bad thing considering it's Star Wars.
Yeah.
But you know, I guess I would say, yeah, it works. And if you weren't a fan of the Clone Wars aesthetic and design, then obviously you're still not gonna like it, even if you watch the Bad Batch. So you know,
I do prefer it over the art style they had for Rebels. And while I don't hate Rebels, I think Rebels was alright. I much prefer these two shows over that. I haven't seen Resistance. I haven't like given it thought, mostly because it looks too weird art wise. So yeah, if it's good, it's good. And yeah, I think I think we can end it there. So guys, this has been our talk about the Bad Batch, the first two episodes. I'm pretty much give it a solid 8, both. Well, 8 for the first episode, 7 for the second episode.
I don't know. I give 8 for both.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, so it still suffice. Anyways, guys, thanks for checking us out. We will be coming back with more episodes about the Bad Batch. I'm happy to talk about it. But yeah, if you guys ever want to check us out, we do have a couple of social media sites you can check us out on, like Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at the Geek Centurions. We are more active on the Instagram. If you go there, you can you can find a link tree to all the other podcasting sites where I've sent it in, like Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Castbox, all that kind of stuff. And we have a link to the YouTube. So for all you audio listeners and been wondering how we look, by that I mean like just want to see a video version of this episode, check it out there. And when you're on YouTube, like, comment, subscribe, all the good stuff. And we do have a Patreon that you can support us in whatever possible way. We always have it on there, even if we're not making anything. We always make sure that we have a place where you guys can support us. And yeah, that's about it.
Yeah.
So Clone Wars, Star Wars is the Bad Batch. It's a pretty good show so far. We'll come back to see how it goes. But for all you out there, be safe, stay cool, enjoy what you like. And yeah, it's been your boy Eli.
Been me, Joe.
And we are the Geek Centurions. Have a good one. Peace.